Welcome to another exciting episode of the Epic Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm Brad Sugars, the Chairman and CEO of Actioncoach, and today we're diving into the minds of some incredible business leaders, uncovering their real stories, strategies, and the secrets behind their victories. It's not just about success, it's about the journey, the hurdles, and turning challenges into opportunities. So let's jump right into it.
Good morning. Today I have Andy Johnston of Johnston Engineering all the way from Spokane, Washington. My name is Arthur Rosario from Actioncoach Dutch Caribbean here in Curacao. Andy, good morning to you. How are things in Spokane?
Good morning, Arthur. Things are good in Spokane. It's summertime and it is warm outside, so it's going to be another hot day here. So we're trying to get lots of good work done during the week so we can go enjoy the weekends.
All right. Wonderful. Andy, let's start off by you sharing the top 3 things that made you successful in business, and how can others follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I'd say the number one is to plan for growth. With the business, you're either growing or you're shrinking. So think about the things that you need to do to plan for growth, right? So for me, it was setting a plan for what the size of the business is by a specific time. And this was probably 5 years ago. I planned to have 25 people as full-time employees by 2030. So, and this is something that's hanging on the wall, but it's 25 people working out of our own facilities, building and shipping our own products in addition to our engineering services that we provide, and then slowly setting into action plans to actually make those things happen. So we're now operating out of our own facilities, out of 2 buildings that I own. When I bought these buildings, I thought that we would have way more space than we need, but we're actually growing into them and almost needing more space. Yeah. So I think that first one is plan for growth. Set some goals that you know that these are the things that you want to achieve. Like, what does the future look like, and what does good look like to you? What does success look like to you? And set some tangible goals. Then you can make the plans to actually put those things in place. You need to think about, what does your future organization look like to achieve those goals, right? What's not just your org chart for today, but what does your org chart look like tomorrow? One thing that I found as a growing organization is the systems that you have right now, you're constantly stressing them, and you're putting band-aids on stuff until you finally go and fix it, right? So our purchasing process, the way that we manage projects, those things as we grow are constantly being stressed. So if you can get ahead of that and say, this is what we're going to look like, then you can say, here's what our biggest pain points are going to be, or at least try to project those. And then put plans in place to go solve those. For example, right now, we're right at the point where we really need a full-time operations person, because it's taking up too much of my time as the president. It's taking too much of our engineers' time, and it's taking too much of our marketing time to go do more of those operational things. So it's time for us to really go and make that next step up as an organization. From the next thing, I think really in growth is that you really want to make sure that you have a good marketing plan, because trying to get your message in front of your ideal clients is really it can really be a struggle. But once you figure out how to do that, and you can really make a process of it, it can be a lot more successful. And I think this is something that we as a company have only done in the last few years, is understand how to get in front of the right clients. So it's identify those clients, and that's the right client that needs our engineering services. It's the right time for them to hire those engineering services, and then they have the funding to hire outside consultants, because we cost money. So trying to find those ideal customers, and for us, it's the companies that are trying to establish new technologies, and they have a specific goal that they need to achieve in a certain time period. So they need to go magnify their team and leverage their existing resources by hiring outside engineering services. So really, once we understood who those customers were and made a marketing plan around those, then we can go and find those people.
Execute. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, that's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners forget. They think they make a good product and or service, and people will be knocking down their door for, and that's not how it happens in reality. So a marketing plan is certainly a very important part of a business owner's success.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And kind of what you described is, the farming approach to marketing, right? So one of my business mentors, really described his marketing for his company, and he's a CEO of a much larger company than me, as he's got farmers and he's got hunters for marketing, and the farmers have much bigger accounts, but those are not things that you have to go out and constantly go and build, right? Those are things that are just going to slowly trickle in. Whereas the hunters, that's how you grow. That's how you go get those next big accounts.
Yeah, and ultimately you have to, depending on which industry you're in, what you want to do, you have to have a good balance between the hunting and the farm.
Yep.
Okay, a little bit back to the beginning. What made you get into business, and why this particular business?
Yep. So I didn't want to start a business. Growing up, my dad had a mechanical contracting company, so heating and air conditioning installations. And that was really like, I've got one brother, but that seemed like almost another sibling, because just the amount of time that it took, and it kind of took away from family. So I didn't want to go be in that kind of situation where I had to go put that much time, because it would be a sacrifice. I saw it as a sacrifice. And that was really something that was very important to me. But the company that I was working for Parker Aerospace. Parker is a huge company, international company. 60,000 employees, $13 billion in revenue, and they shut down the facility that I was working at. So they announced it in June of, or maybe July of 2015. Within a few weeks, I had my company that I filed paperwork for, and then I started working on projects for one friend of mine, and then I found another client that through like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, I think, that for an energy simulation. So before I even left Parker, I had 2 clients that I was working on. So they basically wanted us to stay on and transition our projects back to the mothership, which I did. I stayed there until Halloween of last year, or of that final year there. And then in my exit interview on Halloween, I left Parker after my exit interview, and I collected on my first invoice. So it was a good start. And then I had another project that I was working on. So, my start was probably kind of non-traditional, because I was working on other projects for my company, while I was still employed at another company. And then it was full-time for me in Johnston Engineering. So I really tried to make sure that my work did not interfere with family. And so, what I do is I get up really early. So my kids are still asleep. And, I still right now have to work, unfortunately, in the 14 hours a day right now, because of our growth. And the way that I do that is I just get up really early. So by the time, most people would be getting home from work, I'm home a little bit after that. Right. So it's definitely a probably different path than most people that said, "Oh, I want to start a business." Right. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to start a business, but I found myself
more the reluctant entrepreneur.
Yes. Right. But, it's a misconception where you have to trade off other parts of your life. And I thought you had to trade off family, and you do have to trade off parts of your life to run a business, just because of the amount of work that it takes. But you can trade off in other areas, get up really early or go work.
Oh, you just mentioned also that you're looking for a full-time operations manager. So I'm
Yes.
hoping there's a deadline on when you want to hire him or her.
Yeah, and it's really, there's a few things that really my coach Ted Schmidt has helped me identify, which is how are those things that are in my way that are taking a lot of my time, how do I go and hand those off? So shortly after this meeting, I'm going to go have a meeting with Ted, and we're going to go talk about this operations person. And the other thing that's really taking a bunch of my time that it shouldn't be is some of that detailed analysis. There's a few types of analysis that we do that only I can do. We need to go fill that position. So hopefully after those positions are filled, I can get back to, a little bit more of a normal working schedule until the next problem, right? And then
yeah, exactly, because they will they have a way of finding us.
Yeah.
And the past, so in August, your business will be 9 years old, and all that time, what has been your biggest challenge, and how were you able to overcome
it? Yeah, so last year I would have probably, or maybe 2 years ago, I would have said finding clients. But I think that I mentioned that previously, that we've finally found how to go seek out those clients that are the right fit for us. So I think that was our biggest challenge for a long time. Now I think our biggest challenge is how do we go and put the organization in place to deal with the growth that we're seeing. And the biggest thing I would say is hiring capable employees. And we are getting really great employees. The area of engineering that we work in, we come in as contract mechanical engineers that will go and work on a customer specific problem. So we have to really come in and try to provide value to our expert clients that know the most about their machines or their devices and how they, what they want to do in the future. So we have to come in from a place of humility and learn very quickly. So, we're not wasting our time that we're billing them for, right? We need to come and add value as quickly as possible. So we come in and we do design work and a lot of physics-based simulations, which are capabilities that typically our clients don't have in-house. So, coming in with software tools and experience to do those simulations is really how we add that value really as quickly as possible. So getting really good employees, making sure that they understand what we do and how we do it. Really the next biggest one in our growth is getting processes in place. Yeah. Being the things that we could do when we were 5-10 person company are not working when we're 15 plus 14 contractors. And so, getting a program management, the tools that we use for managing programs, as we have many more programs are not really adequate. And so trying to be more consistent in those types of areas where we need to track, who's doing what, when is it due, and for how much, right? Those are, and so we're tracking basically schedule, budget, and action items. But the way that we do that, we need to make sure that that's not taking away from the actual engineer's time any more than what is acceptable to our customers. So, really more program management, control of the operations is really going to help those things. And really the next thing for us is, and it's really the same area, is the standardization. So right now we're working we've won a grant to be ISO compliant. So we have a trainer, and we're going to take our existing processes. Here's how we purchase. Here's how we design. Here's how we do analysis. Here's how we build. Here's how we test. All of those processes will be documented according to our future ISO compliant process. And then everyone will be trained on those processes. And then we need to go and work to those processes and audit the way that we are actually operating to ensure that we're compliant with the process, or either change the things that we're doing to be compliant or change the process to reflect what we're actually doing. So it's those standardization of those processes that I think is really going to take us to the next level.
Yeah, we use in Actioncoach, the acronym systems is saving yourself time, energy, and money. So very well said. How did you personally have to grow, or what did you do have to learn most in order to be able to build this company for the past 9 years?
Yeah. Well, I was just an engineer, right? So mechanical engineer, working on very technical areas of engineering, on the far nerdy side of engineering. But I am not trained in business, and there's a lot of things that I needed to learn how to do from the business side. So I don't have a business degree, but I have a business coach. So listening to my coach at first was really hard, and I would say that I fought Ted on a lot of things for the first year or so, and I would select things that he told me to do that I'm like, okay, that makes sense, right? Giving in to the fact that my coach has superior knowledge than I do, and listening to his advice, I think was a big boost, right? He's very experienced in the ways to grow, run, and make a business succeed, right? And so it's listening to those people that know more than you, right? And that's why I'm a huge supporter of Actioncoach. I won an award for the most referrals for TED, and that the reason why is because I believe that in the success of that, right? And it's got a very positive return on investment for me. Over the years that I've been paying TED, right? That's very minor compared to the amount of profit that we have in the growth of the company that we wouldn't have otherwise had. So I think the biggest thing is listening and taking that advice from your mentors, and a business coach is a great way to grow, right? So it takes some humility, it takes some self-awareness, right? You have to be honest with yourself in terms of what are your weaknesses.
Yeah.
And instead of letting your pride get in the way of, oh, I can do it, or I'm smart enough, right? You need to go and get in there and be like, I don't know how to do this, but I need to go find the people who do, right? And put them in place, whether it's an operations person or more marketing or a business coach, right? So I just know that there's so many people who are experts in their area, right? And I try to constantly learn through mentors and coaches and audiobooks and various different things. But trying to find those mentors that can help you, I think is a huge way to grow.
All right. How did you were you looking for a business coach? How did you and Ted find each other? Did he find you, or did you find him?
I attended a free class that he had.
Okay.
So maybe two of them, and then he offered like a 1 hour evaluation to talk about my business. Then I joined group coaching where I think we had 3 or 4 of us over a 1 hour period, and we would talk for for 15, 20 minutes or so about our particular problems, get feedback from the coach, feedback from those around us, until that wasn't enough, right? And as I took his advice and put those things into place and grew, and it's like, hey, you need to free yourself up, and you need another mechanical engineer, you need a mechanical designer, right? And then it's like, okay, well, now I need more of Ted's time. And then it increased from there. All right, I need more time per year or per week to go talk with Ted and deal with some of these other bigger things.
Final question. What are actually 2 final questions? What did it do having a business coach? What did it do for your business? Would you consider it that it was an investment that you're making in business coaching?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I've got a revenue versus time chart, right, where it's a very straight linear increase over time, which was basically 2015 to 2021, and then right at the end of 2020, just before 2021, that's when I went to one-on-one coaching, and I went from this slope of this line to up, and now I'm on a much higher trajectory. It's that traditional hockey stick projection that you see, but for ours, it's actuals. So, that this chart basically goes up and then way up here, and then there's this tiny little amount that is relative to the amount that I paid for action coaching.
Yeah.
So to me, it's very much worth it. It's a very much a positive ROI. So, I would recommend to really anybody to go and get a coach, because the growth of your business and the revenue and resulting profit that you would have for it is very much worth it for as an investment for your company and yourself. Really,
Yeah.
you learn a lot personally.
Yeah. If you don't, I think it's Jim Rohn said, if you don't grow, your business cannot grow. So
Right. Yep. Yeah. In 2022, we had, basically from 2021 to 2022, that's really the first year that I had TED all year. I started just before 2021.
Okay.
That was a 300% revenue growth year for me. And then 2023 was 50%, right? A lot of times you'll see a big revenue growth and then kind of a rebound, right? And then it's like, okay, 300%, and then still 50%.
Wow.
And then we're on a good revenue growth path still this year.
On our road to 2030, right?
Yep. Yeah, we're growing faster than the goal of
Okay.
for 2030. Yep. I just sent out a job offer that got signed and accepted back yesterday for a mechanical engineer. I want to send out another one today for a mechanical designer. We just hired a contract fabricator yesterday. So yes, we're growing fast.
All right. Glad to hear. Final question. What top piece of advice that you got or that you would give to another entrepreneur listening to this podcast?
Yeah. You got to take some risks. Engineers in general are pretty conservative. For me, I took probably too long with many of my hires, where we wait until we have more work than we can do before we go and we hire someone. And because of that, it's very challenging, right? You have to work a lot. You're not giving, you just can't give everything you need to every job. Balls can get dropped, and so then you're firefighting, and that's not where you want to be. So I would be more aggressive from a hiring point of view and get those people in place before you need them. This new hire is going to be starting on the same day that we have a new project kicking off. So that's, just barely the amount of time, right? So like just right on time. I'd like to have them in a little bit earlier. I think one of the big things that we've learned, especially in the last couple of years, is to have a little bit of extra bandwidth so we can go and take on those projects. That allows us to go jump when our customers say, we need something fast, or can you take on additional work, which is great, more revenue, right? So I think that's something that's really changed for us in the last probably 2 years, where we're being aggressive. Where we have 3 open job positions, and I would go fill all of them, right? We're going to go fill 2 of those. Whereas 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done that, and Ted would have to be slowly coaxing me into doing that. And now I'm like, yes, I definitely need to fill these 3 job positions, and then I need to go post 2 more, for operations and analysts, right? So, those are things where you just have to be a little more aggressive. Say, yep, we can pay for it. We'll go make it happen, right? And then if I fill that position, I've got more time to go get more jobs, so we can grow and get busier. So be a little more aggressive.
All right. Well, thank you, Andy, for sharing your insights and what it takes, some of the things that it takes to become a successful entrepreneur, and looking to seeing bigger and better things for 2030 and beyond. So all the best in Spokane, and hope to see you on vacation soon in Curacao, as you mentioned.
Yes, and I'd love to go there. So yes, thank you very much for the opportunity for the interview. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's epic conversation here on Epic Entrepreneurs. Huge thanks to our amazing guest for their pouring their heart into sharing their journey. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, share it, or hit that bell. But until next time, let's make sure you keep dreaming, take massive action, and stay epic.